was a former state senator that some of you might be familiar with, where he chaired the Committee on Veterans, Homeland Security, and Military Affairs, and where I served as counsel and chief of staff. And it's actually that committee, when you trace it back, it's that committee that passed the legislation that codified this, what became the Office of Homeland Security, what had originally started as the Office of Public Security. So for me, it's been kind of an interesting personal journey to watch the issues develop, to watch the state and the city and all local governments try to respond and recraft how they operate with one another in this new world, and try to organize the government structures to do so. So here we are. I'm not a great lover of PowerPoint. I'll share in advance. It's not my favorite way of receiving information, and it's probably my first PowerPoint presentation. So you're all with me on the inaugural journey. Let's see if I can get the buttons to work. So that's our mission. Very, very simple, clear mission statement, aligned very much with all of the federal doctrine that's out there about how we are supposed to be preparing for terrorism and other hazards, prevent, protect, and prepare. And we're really a coordinating public safety agency. And one of the most significant powers that this office has is to make recommendations to the governor on allocations of resources when it comes to harnessing on this mission. If you want to get somewhere, it's a good idea to write down what your strategy is. So over the course of the last year, we have really upgraded, professionalized, tried to be thoughtful about what it is we're trying to achieve. So available on our website is our New York State Homeland Security strategy. We've tried to be inclusive. We've tried to solicit a lot of comments. We welcome yours. We work very closely with the New York City UASI, the Urban Area Security Initiative. They were very instrumental in providing us comments on it. So I'd invite you to take a look. The way I look at it is, if you can't see yourself, if you can't see your concerns in that document, then we've missed something.
Monroe, which is at the border right there with the 17 and New York State Thruway, or Rockland County, all these counties, and they're very concerned. Now, I don't know what to answer. I spoke to your office, and I think we spoke to each other in Albany, yes, when we met a few years ago. But at this moment, they are not entitled to anything. And their question is always, how do we approach it and what do we do? The question now is, what I have is, if your office can help JCRC and Daguda with all these communities to sit down, and maybe there's a way to figure something out.
We're happy to continue that dialogue. You have questions?
Thank you. My name is, again, Rabbi Abe Friedman, and I'm the Boros African Advisory Council coordinator, and I'm a West African Congress member. So I think the president with the question who have said, as if different communities have this kind of program and extend to them exactly what will happen. But when I'm looking to this list here, two things has come to my mind, and I was just wondering to ask how we correct that. When you look into education organization and religious organization, you see in the religious organization, you see Arab organization, and there you don't see any Muslim organization, because we as a Muslim people, we're not Arab. So these are the part of the thing we have to differentiate between Islam and Arabic
issues. Center that collects information, intelligence, and then analyzes it, does threat resolution, threat mitigation for all U.S. interests in the U.S. and outside of the U.S. And then for my last year at FBI headquarters, I was assigned to what's called the National Counterterrorism Center, which is a phenomenal organization that came about because of September 11th. At the National Counterterrorism Center, you have 16 members of the intelligence community represented every day, day in, day out. So as an American, it's very gratifying to see that all the entire intelligence community, including law enforcement, is together under one roof, in one place, keeping this country safe. We have just I don't have a PowerPoint, I just have a few things. I'm a master of the obvious. I'm about to talk about the current threat. The good news is, in a way, there's a lot of threats. So there's a lot to talk about, but there's a brief summary here that we came up with just to give you an idea of the difference between around 17 years ago and what's happening today. In 1993, the World Trade Center was attacked. Okay? In 1998, Two U.S. embassies in Africa were bombed. 227 people were killed. And then in 2000, the USS Cole was attacked off the coast of Yemen. And then September 11th happened. So there are 4 or 5 different attacks, plots during the course of 1 decade. You fast forward to post 9/11, we've had around 30 plots in the U.S. alone since 9/11. Okay, 8 major homeland plots in 2009 alone. Okay, we had the Christmas Day event on the plane going into Detroit.
25th.
Yes, I refer to them as the brief bomber. Yeah, but that's okay. The underwear bomber. We have a homegrown jihadist coming out of Philadelphia known as Jihad Jane. Okay, so we have a lot of people here in this country and coming in from overseas who are intending to do us harm. And we don't have to look much farther than 1 week ago, 6 days ago, and go over to Times Square to see that this threat is real. It's here. I regret to say it's here to stay. I think Al-Qaeda and its affiliates are going to take 2 tacks. One is the smaller plots, the plots involving 1 or 2 or 5 individuals with a car bomb or multiple backpack-type bombs on the subway, which we saw with Najib Azazi back in September. Luckily, he's pled out and he's cooperating to a great extent. So, in a nutshell, we face a lot of threats, and I do believe, having had this experience with the FBI, having dealt with terrorism throughout the 1990s, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can stand here today and know in my heart that Al-Qaeda is here to stay. Al-Qaeda and its affiliates are here to stay. They're going to carry out smaller plots. They're going to eventually get back to what they love to do, which is the spectacular plot. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just a matter of time. It's up to all of us in this room and outside this room and the law enforcement and intelligence community to remain vigilant and to not become complacent. If you see something, say something. Just ask the vendor on 45th and Broadway how that policy works.
Thank you for hosting us. Any of you that want to come up and see the command center that we have up by us, James, you've been up there, you've seen it. We're looking to expand it. If the funding comes through, we'll hope to expand it.
Anybody here that, Dave?
One quick thing, I want to thank Commissioner Kreisman for everything that he said. I want to amplify one thing about the mayor's gun campaign. When the FBI went through the Times Square bombers, as soon as they found a Tech-9 on the seat, the Tech-9 is the kind of gun, exactly the kind of gun that killed Dari Halberstam in 1994. It is an easy gun to do. We have to really support the mayor's campaign. This is something that has to be exported from New York because we're importing the problem.
One last thing I just want to say. I want to just thank also for the outreach efforts and Abe Friedman here. For us, at least for the past eight years, he's been a great asset to the community, and I think it's going to be
We're so happy that the governor has allowed us to bring him on board here at the Office of Homeland Security to continue this type of dialogue, and I know you want to take a moment to explain.
Yeah, just for a minute to explain. This is just the beginning. Basically, the Office of Homeland Security is involved in so many different aspects with the community, with the mayor's office and local PDs, the NYPD. So this is something that you're going to see more often, so people understand the involvement of Homeland Security. But at the same time, if you have any concerns or any of the communities want us to go out on the state level, either for the funding or for assessments or any other questions, we're here. There is a new office that will deal with community affairs such as what the NYPD has. Now it's going to be on the state level. So we're looking forward to to be there for everybody.
One last comment, just for a little bit of perspective, and then we can go. I think sometimes we make too much of the mistakes that people make. The media is vibrating a little bit about they left the keys behind in the car, the boat sank. Back in '93, they went back to collect a deposit, and that was kind of cool. We shouldn't think so much about the mistakes because they learn from them and they come back. So just be cautious about overestimating or thinking for a moment that because they make some mistakes that this isn't
the long haul.
Thank you very much.